afternoon, everyone. I'm Gloria Duffy, President and CEO of the Commonwealth Club. So happy to have you with us here today. Dr. Stephen Cohen is Professor Emeritus of Russian Studies and Politics at New York University and Princeton University. He's a contributing editor to The Nation magazine. He's one of the nation's most distinguished scholars on Russia and the Soviet Union before that, and a terrific, thoughtful, insightful guy. So thank you so much, and welcome to Professor Stephen Cohen.
They say that the farther you go from home, the better introductions you get. I would say the farther you go from Washington and the internet and the mainstream media, the better introductions you get. Some of you probably know that the small group of us who have been protesting American policy toward Russia since the Ukrainian crisis began 2 years ago have been described in harsh and I would say derogatory language as Putin's apologists and Putin's useful idiots. Paris should have changed everything, but for these people it hasn't. I clicked on the internet this morning just before I came here, and there it was again. So let me begin with a word about myself. My answer to these charges is no, I, not you, am the patriot of American national security. And I actually have been ever since I started studying Russia, which is about 50 years ago. Along the way, I came to a conviction, exactly why and how doesn't matter, that American national security runs through Moscow. This was true when the Soviet Union existed, this is true today. What it means, in plain terms, is that whichever existential or grave world threat you might emphasize, and for some people it's climate change, for some people it's human rights, for some people it's the spread of democracy. For me, it has been for quite a while the new kind of terrorism that afflicts the world. It's no longer these so-called non-state actors. These guys are organized. They have an army, they have a self-professed state, and they have a capacity to harm us gravely. Everybody seems to have forgotten 9/11 in Boston, but Paris should have reminded us of what's at stake. So for me, the threat in the world today that gets the priority, and I mean it gets the priority of the President of the United States, I don't care whether he's a Republican or a Democrat, is the combination of this new kind of terrorism, these civil wars, ethnic, religious, zealous civil wars which drive this terrorism, and the fact that these guys desperately want materials of weapons of mass destruction. A cup this size of radioactive material aboard those planes on 9/11 would have made lower Manhattan inhabitable even today. They're using conventional weapons, bombs, mortars, and guns. But if they'd had it in Paris, Paris would have had to have been evacuated. This is the real threat today. This kind of threat cannot be even marginally diminished. And I'm not sure we can ever end it in our lifetime. This may be the new normal. But diminished and made, probably not the right word, manageable, unless we have a partner in the Kremlin. That's the long and the short of it. Note, I didn't say a friend. Clinton and Nixon went on about their dear friend Brezhnev and their dear friend Yeltsin. It was all for show. I don't care whether we like this person or not. What we need are these common interests and a partnership. The way two business people make a contract. They've got the same interest. They trust each other because if one side violates the interest, the other guy's interest is violated. We haven't had that. We don't have it today, even after Paris. But that is essentially what I've been saying for 2 years. And in return, people say that's unpatriotic. And I argue, no, it's the highest form of patriotism in regard to American national security. The chance for a durable Washington-Moscow strategic partnership was lost in the 1990s after the Soviet Union ended. Actually, it was lost earlier because it was Reagan and Gorbachev who gave us the opportunity. But it certainly ended in the Clinton administration. And it didn't end in Moscow, it ended in Washington. It was squandered and lost in Washington. And it was lost so badly that today, for at least 2 years, we have been in literally a new Cold War with Russia. Now, people don't want to call it that. Okay. It's a really horrible situation. and exceedingly dangerous. And here's my next point. This new Cold War has all the potential to be even more dangerous than the preceding 40-year Cold War.